What's up, Variant Nation? 'Tis I, the Tim, your very huggable guest host. And now this is the part where most of you are saying, what? Who's this guy? Where's Arris? And before any of the conspiracy theories start, no, Arris hasn't been fired or replaced, he hasn't quit, and he certainly hasn't died. He's just out sick. Him and his family are doing just fine, but he's been banished to quarantine until he's exorcised the demon.
That the power of Christ compels you!
And for those of you who aren't sure who I am, that means you're not subscribed to our podcast. I'm the executive producer of Variant, but also the co-host of Variant the Podcast. So click the link in the description below to subscribe to our podcast and join Arris and I every week as we talk all things geekdom. For today, however, we're starting on a new journey within the world of symbiotes as Marvel kicks off a new event following the aftermath of the King in Black storyline. And that event would be Extreme Carnage. This series puts Flash Thompson right at the center of the story because if you weren't aware, Flash Thompson was brought back to life during King in Black. And no, that's not a spoiler, that's old news by now. Anyway, today we are going to break down Extreme Carnage Issue 1, which is part 1 of an 8-issue miniseries. But before we dive in, we want to thank Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't battled the Demon Lord, destroyed the Ice Golem, or ascended the Doom Tower yet, then it's time to raid. And right now you can use our links in the description or scan the QR code on screen to download Raid on your phone or PC. When playing Raid, you'll use hundreds of artifacts to equip and develop over 500 champions, then take on dungeon runs, campaign battles, PvP arena matches, and of course, raid bosses. I'm talking about bosses like my personal favorite, Princess Avila, Guardian of the Magic Keep. Basically, Avila stumbled onto an ancient hedge that was the secret meeting ground of the Coven of Dark Magic. There, she was promised powerful dark magic in exchange for souls she collected for the Coven, and foolishly, she accepted their offer. Over time, she collected so many souls and became so powerful that even the Arbiter herself couldn't kill her, and Avila was locked in a tower to keep the kingdom safe. Now, when you face her, you'll need some serious ability to deal with enemy buffs, otherwise, she'll harvest your soul. No pressure. But in addition to taking on epic bosses, Raid's got a non-stop schedule of summer events and activities lined up, including special fusion events to get a brand new legendary champion, tournaments against other players, and much, much more. They've also just released 5 more amazing new champions, all of which look dope, and I look forward to testing out. As always, it's a great time to join the Raid community, so don't wait around. Use our link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to download Raid Shadow Legends now. And all new players will get the epic hero Kanoru from the Shadowkin faction, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon another champion as soon as you get in the game. And once you're in the game, all these rewards will be waiting for you right here. So click our link and we'll see you in the game. And now, Variant Nation, with that covered, let's check out Extreme Carnage Alpha. The issue begins off the coast of a remote island with a voice off panel saying, "The planet Earth is our place. Ours. We like to think of ourselves at the top of the food chain, don't we? Kings of the hill. After all, if the highest rung of the evolutionary ladder isn't occupied by us, who else would it be?" After this, we are then taken to a park in the city where we're shown that the voice we were seeing is that of Senator Peter Crane. He continues to say to a group of his supporters, "We live in a brave new world now, my friends, and we've been disillusioned about our place in it. Ours is a world filled with predators and monsters. We shouldn't have been surprised. We've known for years that we're not alone. First the mutants came for us, now the aliens." And the aliens he's talking about are the ones from the recent invasion by Null. He then goes on to say, "Even on our good days, superhuman threats run free right under our noses." And just as he says this, we see the Carnage Symbiote attack and take over a fish in the ocean. Now, if you're asking yourself, what the heck is the Carnage Symbiote doing in the ocean? Well, if you remember, at the end of the Venom Island storyline in Venom 25, we see the Carnage Symbiote is still alive and escaped to the ocean after its fight against Eddie and his son Dylan. Now, jumping back to our current story, after the Carnage Symbiote takes over the fish, it pierces a great white shark, infecting the shark with a symbiote. We then go back to more captions of the senator saying, "We try not to think about it. We go about our lives and we tell ourselves, it won't be me. I'm not bothering anyone. The predators won't come for me." We then jump back to the Carnage shark, which looks disgustingly terrifying as it jumps out of the water and infects some mercenary on a boat. This now infected figure turns his boat around and heads back to his base, where we see him surrounded by other men, as well as a guy in a suit. And we quickly see in his eyes that he realizes something is terribly wrong. Now, this is all happening while Senator Crane is rallying his supporters, basically telling them this park was recently marred by a tragedy, an alien attack in which 174 human beings lost their lives. He goes on to say the president has announced the construction of a memorial here, a chunk of stone that he will dedicate 2 weeks from today. Is that enough? For those of us who lost people in this invasion, we need action. We need leaders who will tell the Tony Starks and the Charles Xaviers and anyone else who harbors aliens, no more. That's why today I'm announcing my partnership with the newly reorganized and reinforced Friends of Humanity, with whom I am introducing the Birthright Act, which will ensure the human race is not forced to share this planet with aliens whose motives we cannot possibly know or understand. Now let's pause there for a second, because this is actually a pretty deep dive inside Marvel continuity. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Friends of Humanity, they're an anti-mutant group formed by Graydon Creed. But as the senator said, they're now reorganized and refocused. But jumping back to the story, Senator Crane then tells his followers, "Join us in 2 weeks as we call on Washington to denounce this violence and come together to drive out the alien threat for humanity." Immediately after his speech, Senator Crane returns back to his mobile office, where he finds his son, as well as his campaign leaders. From there, we basically learn that Senator Crane is using this recent alien invasion to give him a leg up in the next presidential election, by becoming the face of the anti-alien movement. Then in the next panels, we return to the man in the suit from earlier, who was standing in front of the dude who got infected by the Carnage Symbiote, and we see him landing in a private plane. We also learn that the man's name is Dr. Miller, as we see his driver is holding a sign waiting for him. Dr. Miller then walks towards the car with his driver, saying, "I'm starving. I mean it. I can't remember the last time I was as hungry as this." His driver asked him, "They didn't feed you guys on the plane?" Miller replies, "Some of the flight attendants' brains got in my mouth, but I couldn't call it a meal exactly. Mind if I turn on some music?" In a state of shock, the driver then asks, "What?" as we see him get a text message. Dr. Miller then says, "What's the matter, kid? Get some bad news? Who's the text from?" The driver then responds, "It says it's from Dr. Miller." The Dr. Miller that's in his car then says, "Well now, that is bad news," as he turns up the music, revealing he's not Dr. Miller, but in fact, the Carnage Symbiote. And on the next page, we see Carnage starting to eat the driver as they're headed down the highway. Elsewhere, we then see Flash Thompson working with an old military buddy named Hank, delivering food to the homeless. We learn in their conversation that Hank isn't happy unloading boxes for a living. He wants a job that'll put the experience he gained in the military to use. He tells Flash, "I want to do something that matters, something that takes focus, something that saves people." But Flash suddenly gets a headache and drops the box as he starts hearing a voice in his head saying, "Your flesh is mine." And jumping to the next page, we see that Flash is teleported inside the now extremely bloody car with Carnage, who is still disguised as Dr. Miller and is now driving. Flash looks at Carnage/Dr. Miller saying, "Who are you?" Miller then looks at him with a red glowing in his eyes saying, "I'm family, cousin," revealing to him it's Carnage. Flash then says, "You're not Cletus, he's dead." Carnage answers, "That's your reasoning? There's only dead men in this car, Eugene Thompson. Some more than others, I grant you." As we then get a very gory panel of the back seat showing us the remains of the driver that went to pick up Dr. Miller. It's pretty freaking disgusting. As Flash looks at the bloody remains of what was once a person, he says, "Oh my God, what did you do?" Carnage just answers, "Oh, spare me, Eugene. We're family. Don't pretend to be all civilized with me. I know the things you've done. I can smell the blood on you. You know what it's like, don't you? To open up a man's neck and slap around what comes out. You've wanted to crack a bad guy's ribs open and sink your arms into his guts like a Christmas turkey." He then rips through the roof of the car saying, "Follow the pool, Eugene. Your family's waiting for you. We're gonna change the world together." But Flash Thompson isn't having it, and while putting on the anti-venom suit, he replies, "My name is Flash. And if I see you again, you psycho, it'll be the last thing you ever..." But before he can finish that sentence, he's suddenly brought back to Hank, where he's holding a symbiote blade in front of his face because it was supposed to be Carnage. But a terrified Hank screams, "Thompson, please!" And luckily, Flash comes to his senses and stops himself before harming Hank. Flash then says to Hank, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. I'm sorry, pal," while running away confused and afraid. We then see Flash reach the end of an alley where he is met by none other than Iron Man, who says, "You're a hard man to track down, Flash Thompson. When you're not anti-venoming out on random people, that is." Flash then responds, "Iron Man, what are you doing here?" Iron Man tells him, "Ease up, Corporal. I'm not here to fight. In fact, I thought we might be able to help each other. We've got some serious problems coming our way, if it isn't here already." In the next few panels, we learn that Dr. Miller was a rep for the American Arms Division of Alchemax, and we see Carnage, now possessing Dr. Miller's body, meet up with an employee of Senator Crane's campaign. Because as we find out, the senator and his campaign are working with Alchemax. The senator is interested in having Alchemax provide them with guardsmen for their pro-humanity rallies, and in return, the senator will provide Alchemax with some big Middle East contract. But as I said, this is Carnage posing as Dr. Miller, and Carnage posing as Dr. Miller was really hoping that Senator Crane would show up for their meeting, but he didn't. We then see Carnage say, "I gotta say, you meat suits don't last like you used to. That one in the chair got me halfway across the world though. Credit where it's due." And he's of course talking about Dr. Miller's body, which he took over halfway across the world. Carnage then continues to say, "I was really hoping Crane himself was going to be here tonight, but like I said, you'll do." On the next panels, we see Iron Man taking Flash back to his lab, and once inside, Iron Man reveals to Flash that what he's about to show him is in his area of expertise. He then proceeds to show him one of his symbiote-infected armors from the King in Black storyline, And if you want to see Tony using this armor, check out this video right here. Anyway, Tony says I call it the Extrembiote, a symbiote infused with Extremis tech. I can control it like any other armor. Flash says, Tony, it's a living thing. There's no controlling it, at least not long term. So Tony says, why not? You control yours, right? Flash then explains it's different. A host and a symbiote work together, not like whatever this is. Did you bring me here to wire me up too? Tony says, no, I brought you here for something else. Since Null's invasion, I've been scouring video footage from all over the world for potential symbiote activity. That's how I found you, and not all your goofy cousins have been unloading food at homeless shelters. Tony then shows Flash several surveillance videos of symbiotes or a symbiote going around tearing people apart. Flash then interrupts saying, it's Carnage. He's here. Tony responds, Cletus Cassidy is dead. But Flash then tells him that's not how it works. Dead or not, its consciousness is still in the hive. When a host and a symbiote have a strong bond, the host can leave a strong imprint behind. And there's never been a stronger symbiotic bond than Carnage and Cletus Cassidy. Tony then asks, why are you so sure it's him? Flash then tells him, earlier tonight my symbiote and I felt some kind of a pull. Something strong and instinctual, something I've never felt before. I still feel it now. I saw Carnage driving down the interstate with the top down and a corpse in the back. He spoke to me. The way he was talking, I think he's planning something big. Tony then tells Flash, I have an idea of what that might be. You know how this always goes. Somebody puts a gun to Earth's head, we knock it down, 7.8 billion people wake up the next day never knowing that they almost didn't. Null's invasion changed all that. Every man, woman, and child on Earth knows about symbiotes now, and they're scared to death. We can't afford another high-profile symbiote attack right now. A lot of people want every non-human living on Earth rounded up, friendly or otherwise, and nobody's banging that drum louder than Senator Peter Crane of New York. And as Tony is saying this, we're shown Senator Crane's employee, the one that Carnage infected earlier, walk into the senator's office. Which means once that door closes, Carnage takes over Senator Crane's body. Tony continues to tell Flash Crane is staking his career on the anti-alien movement. He's the new face of the Friends of Humanity, who no one's taken seriously in years. He also has strong ties to Alchemax. I'm pretty sure Crane is in danger. We then see Flash ask Stark, what are you asking me to do? And Tony replies, I need someone who already understands, someone who could find the big symbiote threats before they make the news. You said your symbiote is feeling a pull toward Carnage? Follow it. See where it leads. If I'm right and it has something to do with Peter Crane, warn him, shadow him. If anything happens to him, he'll be a martyr, and the Friends of Humanity will be the new normal. We then jump forward where we see Flash doing exactly that, shadowing Senator Crane at one of his rallies. And while walking through the crowd, Flash radios into Tony saying, this is where Carnage wants me to be, Tony. I can feel him close by. And just as he's saying that, Carnage starts talking to him saying, Eugene, we were all wondering when you would show. And Flash responds, Carnage, where are you? And what do you mean we're all wondering? Carnage answers, I'm everywhere, Eugene. Family, remember? I've got all our brothers and sisters with us. As we see other similar voices say, kill you, got you, skin you. And when you look closely, you'll notice the caption bubbles are the colors of symbiotes like Phage, Lasher, Scream, and so on. Carnage then continues to tell Flash, I've got all our brothers and sisters with us. Nearly every symbiote Venom ever spawned all around you. A hive of our own. But you're not here to join us, are you, Eugene? But Flash Thompson's not having it, and he transforms into Anti-Venom as the crowd starts to freak out and Flash starts looking for Carnage. Tony comes in over the radio asking, can you get Crane out of there? But Flash answers, Crane's not in danger, Tony. I think Carnage is Crane. We're then taken amidst all the chaos at the rally where Crane's son asks him if he's okay. And Crane just replies, I'm fine, Artie. Our boys got this. This is good for us, real good. Once the media picks up that a symbiote was here today, people are gonna flock to us like scared chickens. Which of course is not Carnage's plan to become the next president. He just wants to eat them. We then jump forward where we see Flash reach out to his friend from earlier, telling him, I've got a job for you. It's something big and I need a team stateside in the capital. It's gonna be really dangerous, worse than anything we ever did overseas, but it's important. Hank responds, whatever it is, the answer is yes. I mean it, I want in. So Flash tells Hank, get a black suit and a tie, something for a security detail, government job. Senator Peter Crane's hiring. We then move to the final page of the issue where we see Senator Crane being interviewed on TV saying, this isn't about me, this is about all of us. All mankind. My critics like to pretend that Friends of Humanity are old news, but the name has taken on new relevance now. The For Humanity rally will prove that. The Friends of Humanity were never just about the mutant threat. We're about survival. The survival of our planet, our species, and our families. And right now, that means driving out the alien threat, keeping our borders safe. When we all come together next month, when people see how many of us there are and what we can do, I think the world's in for a big surprise. And let's just go ahead and say right now that they're definitely in for a big surprise because everyone watching this interview thinks he's talking about human beings. but we know, as the reader, that this is Carnage, and he's talking about his symbiote family, the Clintar. Either way, with that, the first issue of Extreme Carnage comes to an end, and so far, I am digging it. I don't think the issue was mind-blowing, but it was fun nonetheless, and I really like that we're seeing a different character other than Spider-Man or Venom take on Carnage. In fact, it's just nice to see Flash Thompson center stage and in the spotlight again for Marvel, especially for a big event book like this. So all in all, this issue has me curious to see where it leads, and they did a pretty good job of setting up for bigger things to come. But as always, that's just our take. Let us know what you guys think of Extreme Carnage issue number 1 in the comment section below. First up on our buy list for the week of July 14th, we have Batman the Detective issue number 4. Bruce Wayne is facing charges for the attempted murder of former mentor and teacher Henry Ducard, and faces a grueling Interpol interrogation. Nothing is as it appears, however, as the Gotham expatriate charges into a lion's den of mystery and duplicity without the benefit of Batman's tools. Will the one-time Dark Knight escape unscathed? We'll also be covering issues 3 and 4 of this title with a full episode next week, so keep a lookout for that. Next up, we have Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters issue 2. Notorious bounty hunter Boba Fett has tracked his missing prize, Han Solo, frozen in carbonite, to the remote frozen world of Jakara. But representatives from many of the galaxy's most powerful factions have gathered, and they all want the same thing, Solo. And things then go from bad to worse when Boba is forced to turn to Dr. Aphra for help. Third on our list is The Joker issue 5. The never-before-seen tale of the Joker's first night in Arkham Asylum is finally revealed. When a lunatic in a clown suit tries to poison Gotham City's reservoir and is placed in Arkham Asylum before his trial, Detective Jim Gordon realizes something's different about this new inmate that could forever change the future of Gotham. Next we have Spider-Man Shadow issue 4. This is the finale of a great 4-issue miniseries, and if you haven't been reading it, we definitely recommend you do. We'll be giving the last 2 issues a pull list episode in the near future as well. And last but not least, we have Thor issue 15 and the beginning of the Revelations story arc. The wounds of Donald Blake have not yet healed and new hell is afoot. With all inhabitants back in Asgard and Odin's presence returned after being away for so long, an air of tension now sits upon the throne. Father and son, all father and all father, Odin and Thor. Is this relationship forever doomed? And what does it mean for the 10 realms? And that's gonna do it for today's episode, my peoples. But as always, if you like what we're throwing down, be sure to give the subscribe button a click. You also want to check out our podcast for even more variant. But as always, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.